Australia is on the cusp of importing gas to plug a looming gap in supply, despite being one of the world's biggest LNG exporters. The Australian energy market operator is forecasting that within a few years, supplies of gas on the east coast could fall well short of demand at peak times. AEMO also notes that too few new gas fields have been developed to bridge the impending gap. Polly Hemming is director of the Australian Institute's Climate and Energy Programme, and she is with us now. Polly, nice to see you. So what do you make of this situation?
Hi, Roz. Well, I mean, we've been on the cusp of looming shortfalls seemingly endlessly. So this is not the first time we've been talking about importing gas into Australia. We were talking about building import terminals at Port Kembla in 2019. We've had years to think about this scenario. Firstly, are we actually facing a shortfall? So both the Australian energy market operator that you referenced and the Australian government acknowledge that gas demand is in decline in Australia, and AEMO also acknowledges in its predictions that its own forecasts are incredibly variable. So if we are in a shortage, if we are facing a shortfall in the short term, there's a lot that can be done. To use an analogy, if we were facing a water shortage in Australia, our first step would not be to start importing water from Evian. Firstly, we'd be looking at the lowest hanging fruit and saying, okay, how can we reduce water demand in Australia? Who are the biggest users of water in Australia? And it happens to be, in terms of gas, it happens to be the gas industry in Australia. We export vast amounts, and the gas industry uses the most gas for export.
All right. How much gas do we export, and how much do we use domestically then? What's the relationship there?
So we export about 80% of our gas in Australia. What is used domestically is predominantly used by, of course, households, industries, but the gas industry uses what is left in Australia of that 20% that's left. It uses that 20% to refine and produce and process gas to be exported. So if we were looking at low-hanging fruit, go back to that water analogy, who's the biggest user of water in Australia? Oh, it's a foreign-owned bottled water company that's not only exporting all our water, it's using our own water to process that water that it's exporting. Maybe we should look at which industries are using the most gas in Australia and whether they're actually contributing anything to the Australian economy.
Okay, some critics say the gas industry is fanning fears about shortages to push through new developments, extend profits. Are you one of those?
Well, I mean, AEMO itself relies on information from the gas industry to release its reports, its gas statement of opportunities. And yes, it is the gas industry that is always fanning fears. And so I guess, yes, we are one of those critics, but it is coming from AEMO itself. We don't have a gas shortage in Australia. We have ample supply of gas. It's just that we happen to export most of it, that the gas industry and the government are now saying, oh, we don't have enough gas in the short term. We better open new gas basins and produce exponentially more gas to meet that domestic shortfall.
And demand for gas is falling, though, isn't it, as people rely more on electricity from renewable sources. So essentially this is, as time goes on, a self-correcting situation.
Absolutely. The AEMO and the Australian government both acknowledge that gas demand is declining in the long term. The Australian government released its future gas strategy earlier in the year, and despite saying that Australia needs to produce more gas and open new gas basins, the technical information it was relying on for that report itself said that gas demand is dropping globally and in Australia.
Thanks for watching. If you'd like to keep up to date with all our latest research and work, sign up to our newsletter. Delivered every fortnight, it includes behind-the-scenes updates from Richard Dennis, an exclusive cartoon from Judy Horacek, details for our upcoming events and webinars, as well as explainers, graphs, and not to mention the latest cutting-edge research and analysis from the team here on the key issues that are facing Australia. Click the button on your screen to check it out.